Whether you're just a leisure rider, a commuter, or a person that just likes to ride bikes, today we're going to be taking a look at a bike that might be for you, the new Momentum Vida E. Well, thanks again for tuning in to Electric Bike Journal. In today's video, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the new Vida E from Momentum. For those of you that are familiar with this bike, maybe you even have one. This is a whole new bike, top to bottom, new frame design, new tech, really cool new features, and we're excited to share about that. And to help get things going and really be able to add a lot of information, we're gonna be going down to Momentum to join up with John Munhall to really hear more about this bike from them. And of course, we'll be able to share our thoughts at the end. So stay tuned, a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Momentum Bikes is really, it started off as a collection of lifestyle and leisure bikes to suit a really particular type of customer that is looking for something that a bike that fits into their lifestyle, which is really different from the Giant and Liv brands, which we've been making lifestyle bikes and electric bikes for almost 25 years, but the difference is typically that endemic customer, everything they do revolves around the bike being at the center of their life, whereas with Momentum, we knew that we needed a product that fits into their lifestyle on a daily basis, which is a very different approach philosophically, design-wise. So Momentum was built out as a collection initially, and now it's become a full-scale brand. One of our main goals with this bike is really to make it the best riding, leisure, and lifestyle bike that we've ever had. We wanted to make it very approachable. We kind of wanted the people's bike to where it was very easy to get on and off the bike. We wanted it to be very well balanced in terms of riding and almost feel natural in a sense. And the frame design itself, in terms of low step, is a visual feature, but really getting everything well balanced in terms of weight and dynamics and integrating the E system into it, so it just had a very natural feel to it. That's always been at the center of our ethos when it comes to e-bike creation, e-bike design, has been about the relationship between the pedal assist and the rider itself. It's very easy to bolt on a system. It's very hard to get the dynamics, the vehicle dynamics, integrated into an e-bike and have everything feel natural to where you don't have to think about it when you're riding.
Well, let's take a look at the new Vida E and get into the details of this new bike, as well as talk about some of the new features and tech that it has to offer. Starting on the surface, we can see there is a whole new frame design, a much lower, low step through design, making it easier to mount and dismount for riders that maybe are a little bit older and have less mobility in their hips, or just are looking for an easier bike to hop on and off of. Up front, we also have a suspension fork, which adds nice comfort and stability up front, really just making things smoother across the board as you go for rides. There will be two different frame sizes available for the Vida E, both a small and a large, and between the two sizes, they will accommodate riders from 5'1" all the way up to 6'3". At 6 feet tall, on a size large, I feel absolutely at home on this bike and has made riding around very comfortable and smooth. Now, I mentioned the new frame geometry and that low step design, but also we have a shorter reach, making it easier for riders to obtain a very upright seated position for greater visibility. And we're gonna bring in John here to see what was the intention behind this new frame design and getting riders in that upright position.
It's one of those aspects I don't think a lot of riders understand. Typically, a endemic cyclist will get on a bike and they contort themselves into a position that for most that's very unnatural. The most natural position for a lot of us is everything from a seated position to an automobile to walking. We feel very natural and balanced, and we feel very much in control, and we're also very upright and alert of our surroundings. And a lot of those angles and postures in the human body, we replicated as much as possible into the geometry. Again, about being balanced in between, two wheels, which is not natural. We weren't born that way. So we did a lot of studies to make sure that posture was not only familiar, and there was no let's say, learning curve, but also that rolls right into safety, and it rolls right into convenience in terms of how many different types of riders, whether you haven't ridden a bike in a really long time, or you ride a bike every day, but you're looking for a bike that's more familiar and more inviting for just jumping on, hopping off, whether that's utility-based or it's just recreational.
There'll be 3 different colors available to really help you find the right one to bring home. We have this Abyss Black that you see here, which might look berry black, which is a nice rich black. There's a nice metallic flake in there, which I think looks really good. Additionally, it's a caramel cinnamon and a mountain air. As of right now, the Vida E will be starting at about $2,500 US with a bunch of accessories available to really kit this bike out for the ultimate weekend. Some of those accessories involve the rear rack, front rack, pannier bag, fenders, and even the optional throttle for those of you looking to use Throttle-Assist on your bike. As a bike for almost every rider with that recreational focus on the mind, we were curious and asked John how the Vida E stacks up in their lineup.
To be quite honest, this is probably the most important bike in the lineup. We really have 3 different types of usages, and it's pretty simple. Either you have utility bikes, more for cargo and transit. You have your sort of fast commuting bikes. That's one particular type of use. But this bike represents the largest segment of usage in the marketplace. And to put it really bluntly, we just wanted to build a people's bike that's really for everyday use and has a lot of flexibility and versatility to it. And you can create it and make it your own for your own daily use. So it's super approachable and very easy to ride, which was one of our main objectives with the bike, but also really easy to make it your own. So the bike is really for everybody, and it is leisure and lifestyle, and really just a fun everyday bike. And that was the purpose of it, where the more times that you find a need to get on the bike and to use it, the better it is. So it definitely is the most important bike in the line.
Under the hood, the new Vida E uses a 500-watt Syncdrive Move S drive unit with 60 Newton meters of torque. This is an improvement, or I guess an upgrade from the previous generation. Only had a 250-watt rear hub motor, so a nice, almost double the power out of the new drive unit. What makes this drive unit really intuitive is the intentionality in the engineering to really make it feel as natural as possible. A
lot of electronics are, they're fairly hidden, right? And one of the big changes we made was going from the prior generation being a 36-volt system to a 48-volt system with a lot more power, a lot more consistent power from start to finish, and a lot more range. And one of the things that is really important about 48 volts is that it's just essentially very fuel efficient without sacrificing power. So the new drive unit, still retaining 500 watts and 60 Newton meters output, but the difference is being able to do that consistently in any mode that you're in, and also deliver that power throughout the usage. So whether you're using a class 2 optional throttle feature or using pedal assist in 3 different modes, it's very, very consistent and predictable in its power performance throughout the entire profile, while still having good fuel consumption.
Another major upgrade to the E-system of the Vida E is the battery. So whether you're a long distance rider or just doing little blips, there's a lot of focus on improving to a 690 watt-hour battery and a 48-volt system to be able to retain the most amount of battery and range ultimately to you as the rider. Now, as a class 1, 2, or 3 electric bike, which we'll explain a little bit further on here in a second, and how to change your class modes via the speed control in the app, the Vida E with this new battery and 48-volt system paired with this drive unit can offer you a range of 40 to 55 miles in class 1 or 31 to 43 miles in class 2 using the throttle only.
Outside of local regulations, from state to state, we didn't want to make people choose. To be quite honest with you, there's it depends on the rider. If they want a little faster of a ride to feel safe and keep up with traffic in a class 3 pedal assist application, or they want to take intervals of starting in a throttle mode or intermittent use of a throttle mode while they're using pedal assist, or they just want a very basic class 1 20 mile per hour consistent use. we made all of that very flexible and integrated into the bike, so you have, you know, the options of choosing how you want to ride. It comes as a Class 3 28 mile/hour bike, or if you add the optional throttle, you have the option to throttle up to 28 miles or 20 miles per hour, and then also pedal up to 20 miles per hour.
When it comes to charging, there's a new 3-amp fast charger that can get you up to 80% in about 4 hours, 40 minutes, or get you a complete charge in just over 6 hours. There's a total payload capacity of about 300 pounds on the Vida E, and if you opt to get the racks, there's about a 33-pound limit up front with a 55-pound limit in the rear. This does have a removable battery with the use of a key, and so for those of you loading it up onto bike racks or needing to haul it up or down stairs, being able to pull that battery out is not only helpful to keep that battery safe and out of the elements or from getting stolen, but helping you to shave a few pounds when you lift this thing up to move it. Another thing to make things easier to move the Vida E around is a handle located on the backside of the saddle. It's a great way to grab this bike and move it around.
Things are some of its parts, and while it's nice and convenient to you know, to have a handle on the back of the saddle, because the reality is you're moving the bike around a lot, you know, in daily use. Sometimes that's not riding it, or you're putting on a rack, or you're rolling it into your garage, and those are tiny, you know, some smaller features. But some of the more obvious things of control and comfort of a suspension fork and ergonomic grips, and really good tactile pedals, and all those touch points feel very natural. Some of those things get overlooked at times, but there's also some electric features that are really important to the rider as well, and that's having a really high visible heads-up display, and you know, it's all of the controls are accessible, you know, at a right on the handlebar.
On top of that, you do have that E-lock feature, which is really great. Not every place in the US allows for a Class 3 bike. Not every user or rider wants a Class 3 bike. Perhaps a Class 1 is more up their speed, so to say. And being able to have that feature allows you to make that decision. Momentum doesn't have to make different versions of the same exact bike and control that internally. They can kind of make one bike and give you or the dealer the option to set your class rating for what you want. Now, something we talk about a lot here on the channel is that natural pedaling characteristic, and that's something we value a lot for us, you know, and some people want to just hit that throttle and smash on their electric bike, and that's great. This bike has that, and you can see, you know, riding on this hill here, getting up to the top, yes, it does slow down a little bit, but it still does it, and it still will get you up to the top of those hills while using just throttle alone. For those of you that want to pedal and you enjoy that aspect of it, you just need that additional support of the E-system. They have done a great job. Momentum, I think, did a really good job refining in the new Syncdrive system a sensitive and really reactive sensor that can ultimately feel how much feedback it needs to give you based off the feedback you're giving it as you're pedaling. You know, whether you're grinding up a hill or just cruising on flat streets, it is constantly taking calculations and adjusting the power output to really get the most out of that 60 newton meters of torque. And I think this is ideal for riders of all different skill level and all different ages, mobility. It's going to be a bike that I think is for everyone, and I think that Momentum agrees.
We, you know, wanted to have a product that wasn't, you know, just about, you know, returning cyclist or young cyclist or, you know, pigeonholed in a particular type of use. We have plenty of those segmented style of experiences. We needed a bike that was for everybody, and whether you're young, old, first-time rider, long-time rider, and from a style standpoint, from a performance standpoint, approachability, ease of use, all those things packaged into one. We wanted the most balanced, best riding e-bike on the marketplace for everyday use. So it has the style, it has the tech, it has the ride performance that everyone expects. And how do you put that together in a whole package to where almost every customer looks at it and says, that's an awesome looking bike, right? It rides exceptionally well, and that's for me. I can see a use for that in my daily life, and that was the goal.
All in all, the Vida E coming in at $2,500 has really impressed us for a bike that is redefining for us what a leisurely, recreational, kind of everyday bike could be. You know, it's not a full-on commuter like their Sitto with turn signals and a horn, and it's not a full-on cargo bike that you could throw 2 kids on the back. It's a bike that sits right in the middle that allows you to dip your toes kind of either direction to use it for commuting, use it for hauling some gear around, or just going for a leisurely ride with nothing on it and enjoying yourself with plenty of power, plenty of range to get a lot of ride time in and be comfortable and supported along the way. But all that being said, Momentum really has started fresh with the new Vida E and has touched every inch of this bike to redefine it and reshape what it looks like in their collection. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this tech check with Momentum on the new Vida E. If this is the next bike for you, be sure to leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and why you think this bike might be a good bike for you. If you're looking to find more information about it, be sure to check out momentumbiking.com. We'll have a link down below, or maybe I'll put it up here for you. Or check out your local Momentum dealer. They'll be alongside Giant, Liv, some of the other brands you might be familiar with. Thanks again to Momentum for having us down. And of course, thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.